Roller coasters can change your life. There's something about riding a roller coaster that helps with anxiety, stress, and depression. But most importantly, it brings out a happiness that you can't find elsewhere. For around 2 years now, I've been saying 3 words at the end of each video, and they are keep riding coasters. And that is the Theme Park Predictions and More slogan. And on this National Roller Coaster Day, I wanted to share my story on how roller coasters changed my life and why they led me to create a coaster YouTube channel. Hey guys, my name is Brandon, and of course, welcome to my channel, Theme Park Predictions. And my story starts back when I was 3 years old, and that was when I rode my first ever roller coaster. And I remember going to the county fair in my area to ride this blue roller coaster. Now mind you, it was probably pretty small, but still, it was a huge deal for me. And obviously, I think I liked it because something happened that day that was life-changing for me. Then shortly after that, my mom's company would run a day at Kings Island every single year, usually later in the year. So my mom would pack my sister and I in our car and drive 45 minutes south to Mason, Ohio to visit Kings Island. And like most kids, I started off small and I rode the Beastie, which is now called Woodstock Express. And that little roller coaster really led me into really loving the rides even more. In fact, a few years later, I remember riding the Beast with my mom and loving it. And as I got older, I would always walk over to the AAA store in my hometown of Dayton, Ohio to look at all the different brochures and park maps of all the parks around. That way, I could learn more about roller coasters and theme parks all across America. Not only was that important for that very reason, but it was then when I first learned about Cedar Point. I remember looking at the brochure for the 1993 season when Snake River Falls made its debut, and I knew I had to go to Cedar Point. So luckily, my dad and my stepmom took my sister and I there in 1993, and we loved it so much, we went back in 1994 to ride Raptor during its opening year, then in 1996 for Mantis, 98 for Power Tower, and of course 2000 for Millennium Force. After doing all this, I knew I was hooked. I could literally list out every roller coaster at every park in America and tell you where in the park it was located without ever stepping foot in the park. And honestly, I thought I must be the only dork in the world that could do that. Through elementary school, middle school, and even high school, instead of really paying attention in class, guess what I was doing? I was doodling and drawing roller coasters all over my notebooks and sketchbooks and everything else because I loved roller coasters that much. Now, my parents at the time really didn't like that because I always kind of struggled with school, but I knew as long as I kept riding coasters, my life would pan out just the way I wanted it to. But I knew in order to travel more, I needed to get a job. So during my freshman year of high school, I started working at Kroger's as a bagger, and then I got promoted to a cashier. I worked there for 5 years, and honestly, I thought I would just stay at Kroger's forever and just move up maybe, or just kind of whatever. I really didn't have a ton of motivation back then until I decided, you know what? I want to go work at Kings Island and check it out. Even though it was 45 minutes away, and my car at the time was a 93 Oldsmobile Cutlass, and let me tell you, that thing was a gas guzzler. So back then, I left my job at Kroger's making around $9 an hour to go to Kings Island making $6.50 an hour, which obviously was not about the money, but luckily for me, I was a part of the Beast and Flying Eagles crew for the 2004 season, which happened to be the last season for the Flying Eagles at Kings Island. And I met so many friends on that crew that I'm still friends with today, and friends I made while operating the Flying Eagles.
It's just amazing ride. It's funny. Every time you ride, it's different. It's fun, and you snap it, or you just have a nice little, cool family ride. And it's unbelievable. It's so old, it's just fun.
And that was when I knew I had to ride as many roller coasters as I could, more than ever before. And during the summer of 2004 and 2005 at Kings Island, I averaged around 4 to 5 days off a whole month. And guess what? Every single day off, I was at a different park around, whether that was Cedar Point, Holiday World, Kennywood, Dollywood, or Six Flags Great America. Those summers were arguably the most fun summers I ever had, but it wasn't until 2005 when I had two buddies join me for this crazy 8-park 4-day trip that was all up and down the East Coast. The first day was Hershey and Dorney, and then the second day was Great Adventure and then Maurice Piers, with the plans to go to Six Flags America the next day. But we knew there was a roller coaster in Massachusetts called Superman Ride of Steel that we all really wanted to go ride because this intimate hypercoaster looked legit. So what do you know? We're all young and crazy. We decided to drive from Maurice Piers, which is southern New Jersey, all the way up to New York City at 3 in the morning. But sure enough, we got to Six Flags New England so early the next morning that the GM at the time, Mark Kane, thought that they left us in the parking lot overnight. We instantly told him that we were from Kings Island and we're here to ride Superman. And what do you know? As we walked into the park, he saw us and he gave us some exit passes. And I also had the opportunity to meet the operation manager for the park, Pete Carmichael, and he introduced me into internships at the park. And since I really wanted to be full-time at a theme park, I decided this was the best route for me to go. So sure enough, in 2006 and 2007, I moved to Massachusetts to work at Six Flags New England. And in 2007, my last year up there, I met my wife and we dated for around 5 months, and I broke her heart by breaking up with her because I knew I needed to be in Florida. And I really honestly didn't really care for Massachusetts. No offense to anyone who lives up there. It's just I wanted to be in Florida or back in Ohio. So sure enough, I moved down to Orlando, and from there I worked at SeaWorld Orlando for 2 years, and that was really cool because every park I worked at before, once you leave for the day, you turn off the rides, you go home. Well, SeaWorld, you're walking around the park, cleaning it up and doing all your nightly routine after the park closes. And guess what? The animals are still alive. I would always hear the sea lions barking in the background. Or when I was in charge of Shamu Stadium, I would always see the killer whales playing with each other and purposely trying to splash me and get me wet as I was walking near their tank. Needless to say, roller coasters have been a huge part of my life for personal reasons and career reasons. Then after my 2 years at SeaWorld Orlando, I decided to go work for Universal as a vacation planner, helping families plan their days in the theme parks, basically telling them when to ride certain attractions and why they need to visit both Universal parks or the other parks in Florida. But then my wife and I kind of reconnected and she flew down to Orlando, and then we kind of realized we like each other too much to let this go. So she moved down to Florida and we stayed there for a few years while I was working at Universal, and then we decided to move to Charlotte, North Carolina to be closer to family. In the same year, luckily for me, Cedar Fair announced they're going to add Fury 325 to Carowinds. So I knew right then and there I made the right decision to move to Charlotte, North Carolina, which we still live here today and we absolutely love it. But the one problem was, I did not want to work at Carowinds just to I wanted to go there to enjoy it, not really worry about knowing everyone and just working there all the time. But I felt like I was out of the industry and I really needed to get back in the industry somehow, some way. But I didn't know exactly how or what to do to be a part of the industry. So at the time, I had a travel website for Florida called Florida's Top Recommended, where I would recommend all things Florida, like where to stay, where to shop, where to eat. And while I enjoyed doing that, I still felt like I wasn't using my full potential for the industry because I'm so passionate about roller coasters and the parks. So I started a YouTube channel called Theme Park Predictions, and honestly, I didn't think anything of it. And I created around 4 or 5 videos in early August of 2019. And sadly, after those videos, I didn't create any more until March of 2020. That's when COVID hit, and that's when I knew it was time to push the website to a side and focus on this YouTube channel. Because all the time, I would watch Expedition Theme Park, OK Coasters, Airtime Thrills, El Toro Orion, and I knew I could do that. I can do really cool things with my whole theme park predictions mindset with it. But the one problem is that it wasn't going to make any money. And at the time, I was 37 years old, and I knew I had to support my family. My wife has a really good job, but I still wanted to contribute in some way. So from March to June, I created so many videos, I barely got any sleep. I wanted to make sure that I could get monetized as fast as I could, and that is when YouTube starts paying you for each ad. But in order to get monetized on YouTube, you needed 4,000 hours of watch time and 1,000 subscribers. But luckily for me, and thank you to all my OGs out there who's been with me since the beginning, I was able to accomplish this in early June, just around 2 months after I first restarted my channel. And I am forever grateful for that, because each month, the channel grows in subscribers, views, hours watched, and of course revenue. And now my wife is very happy with me, and I can honestly tell each and every one of you I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life, thanks to you guys and this YouTube channel. But Theme Park Predictions isn't just a YouTube channel. It's my platform to make sure that I can do whatever I can to make you know that life's okay, and to hopefully make your day a little bit better when you click on one of my videos. That is why at the end of my videos, I always say, as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters. And since the summer of 2020, my wife and I are expecting our second child, and she'll be here in about a month, so we're very excited about that. But I'm mostly excited about being able to share my passion of roller coasters with her, and most importantly, be able to fill each row of a B&M coaster train with my family of 4. Theme Park Predictions is also about friendship, and I met some wonderful friends through this channel that I hang out with, or I meet in the parks, or at least talk through comments on YouTube. I created a channel that I had no idea would grow this quickly and create a community full of wonderful people. And the one word that sums up this community is positivity. I don't care what your race background is, or how old you are, or your coaster count, or your political beliefs, or anything like that. We're here to have fun, ride roller coasters, enjoy life, and be happy. And I know life is really tough right now, and it always has been, but right now it seems to be a little more tough due to COVID and all, and there's a lot of you who suffer from depression, and that's totally normal and fine. But if you ever need anyone to talk to, feel free to reach out to me. I always like to help people out. That's my kind of mantra for my whole entire life, is to help out people. Always try to make sure everyone's around me is having a good time, you know, smiling and just enjoying themselves. Life really is like a roller coaster. You have ups and downs, but most importantly, surround yourself with a community that has your back and will help you get through the tough times. So yes, needless to say, roller coasters are a huge part of my life and always will be. And I look forward to riding roller coasters for the next 40 to 50 years and bring my son Mason and our daughter on roller coasters as a family and really pass down this tradition with them for generations to come. So that is my story on how roller coasters are so important to my life. Now, I really want to know how roller coasters are important for your life. So please let me know in the comments. I would really like to hear, your emotional story or whatever. Even if it's not emotional, just share with me what coasters mean to you and anything else you want to share with me. Again, I really appreciate each and every one of you. Without every single view, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So every time you watch one of my videos, I greatly say thank you, and I look forward to the future of the channel, and most importantly, the future of our friendships. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.